A South African sister residing in Germany met a white South African, an older woman that used to live in South Africa during apartheid and left once apartheid was over. She had a conversation with her, and this is how it went.
So I just bumped into an older white South African woman. She grew up in South Africa and left in the early 90s, well, after Mandela became president. She left the country. She is one of those that left the country at that time. And this woman has been trying to get me to hang out with her, go for coffee, and she wants to come babysit my kids and all those things. And I am like, no, I am absolutely not interested. In my experience, and I've met a lot of these older white people that left South Africa and moved back to where their grandfathers were coming from in the European countries, which is the same with her. She moved back to Germany, actually exactly this city where I live, because that's where her grandparents come from. And they trigger me so much, because whenever you hang out with them, they will make sure that they talk about the good old South Africa. And for them, South Africa was paradise. It was the place to be. It is where they had the best childhood. It is where they had the best teenage lives, the best young adult lives before they decided to leave. And then they talk to me as a black South African about their beautiful experiences of South Africa during the time of apartheid. And I get so triggered because I'm like, why are you telling me this? What am I supposed to do with this information you're giving me? Am I supposed to give my 2 cents about it? Am I supposed to applaud what a great life you had? Am I supposed to envy it? Like, what is it that you expect from me? So I declined yet again an invite to hang out with her. And she literally demanded to know why. And me being me, I told her exactly why. And now I had to walk away from an old white crying woman, because now she is crying. Now she is feeling some type of way. She is feeling attacked. She is feeling this and this and this and this. I'm like, what were you expecting from me? What were you expecting? Like, literally, when they say things like this, when they talk about how great South Africa was for them and what great lives they had, and especially saying that to a black South African, do they even consider, like I asked them, like, do you even consider the fact that I have families? I have a lot of family that was unalived by the South African police at that time when you were having a great time. And not just unalived because they did something. My uncle and his wife were unalived because they were outside at a particular time when they were not allowed to be outside by the apartheid regime. So that's supposed to somehow make me happy. I have memories of me as a little 7 or 8-year-old girl sitting in a bus with my grandmother from the Eastern Cape going back to Johannesburg. And somehow I fell asleep because, people fall asleep when I was just a little kid. I fell asleep and these 2 apartheid-time police got into the bus and they wanted us to provide passports. Anyway, I was asleep, so they leashed a dog on me. They literally unleashed a dog to come and scare me for the sport, for the fun of it. Absolutely no reason. For the fun of it, because they could. Because they can, so they did it. So again, like, I really don't understand what kind of reaction do people wait for when they talk to a black person about how great South Africa was for them during the time of apartheid.
Clearly, as a human being, you must understand that telling someone else that you had such a good time in their country and those were the good old days, when those good old days you're talking about were apartheid time, and this woman and her family were greatly affected by it, and she has family members that were unalived. She couldn't even attend the same schools as your kids and you, and she can't even pass by your neighborhood. You're telling her those were the good old days. What did you expect from this lady? How are you shocked that you telling her that this were the good old days will impact her negatively? I'm just so surprised and amazed how people act stunned. And this is an older lady, so she's lived. She knows enough. She has interacted with many people before, and she should know better than to tell a Black South African that those were the good old times and those were the times that she had a good time in South Africa as white South African, as someone that had privileges that this person didn't have in their own country. Make it make sense. Some people just do it to get a reaction, or they really don't care about others. Anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about this interaction. Have you faced something like this? And I've heard from Zimbabweans before how the white Zimbabweans, after they leave the country, especially the ones that left after Mugabe became president, they like to refer to Zimbabwe as Rhodesia, and they don't even want to mention Zimbabwe because those are the times that they loved being in Zimbabwe, because they were colonizing Zimbabweans and they were the masters and they enjoyed that time of their life. So they tend to talk about the good old days, just like older South Africans, like our sister mentioned. And on social media, I even covered once, I believe it was last year, there was a back and forth, there was a huge controversy between a lady and Zimbabweans on Twitter because she chose to raise the old flag and refuse to say Zimbabwe. She doesn't want to use the new name that the people use. So it's a problem and clearly needs to be addressed. But what are your thoughts on this, fam? Let us know down below. I am Wongel Zelalem. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
When they talk about how great South Africa was for them and what great lives they had, and especially saying that to a Black South African, do they even consider, like I asked them, like, do you even consider the fact that I have families, I have a lot of family that was unalived by the South African